Hi, it's me again, and yeah, I know, another petition about the TV licence. When will I end? Right, there's millions of the things, and not one of them has ever achieved anything. Although, to be fair, this one I genuinely could get behind, and it could get some traction. It seems to be doing all right. But there is a really big problem with this one. We'll talk about it in a second. The cost of living crisis is hitting people from all walks of life with skyrocketing bills, rising inflation, and increasing mortgage and rent payments. A petition launched on change.org 3 weeks ago has called on TV licensing and the BBC to stop prosecution notices for non-payment for people who are in financial hardship, over 75s or otherwise vulnerable. At the time of writing, the petition has garnered over 145,000 signatures. This is over double the 66,000 signatures it had only yesterday. Yeah, so this one has gained a lot of traction. It's the fastest growing petition I've seen, and I've seen pretty much all of them, right? And yeah, it's really, really gaining some traction. And this seems to be a good fight, a good fight. You know, it's going to be a lot harder to get the TV license abolished completely than it is just to get it decriminalised. If we can focus our fight on getting it decriminalised, we won't need to worry about getting it abolished because no one will pay it anyway, will they? And there'll be no repercussions for paying it. Very much like in Japan. They have a TV license in Japan, and if you don't pay it, nothing will happen. So I think it's like 92% of people in Japan don't pay it. Because why would you? Why would you? And the cost of living crisis is hitting everyone at the minute. And everyone's looking for ways to save money. Everybody is. And, you know, it's a lot of money a year, the TV license fee. £13 a month. That makes a difference to a lot of people at the minute. A lot of people. And that's got to be why. That's got to be why this is gaining so much traction, right? So let's have a look at this petition itself, because I'm filming this now and we're over 150,000 signatures on it. I want to see who this person is, see if we're on their side. Well, we're obviously on their side because it's a good cause, right? But let's have a look. Now, I'm a lone parent living in Basildon. Shortly after I'd moved out on my own for the first time, having to juggle my own finances to support my baby, I was criminally prosecuted by TV licensing for not paying my TV license. The charges were eventually dropped, but it was still a stressful experience. Yeah, people who are new to it, or people who don't know the whole ins and outs of the TV licensing thing, which is like 99.9% of the people out in the country, right? They believe that you have to have a TV license, and if you get knocked on your door by one of the TV licensing goons, that you should talk to them because they're like police or bailiffs. There's something important, right? Not everybody knows as much as we know, most of the people watching this, that they're just door-to-door salesmen, and you don't talk to them, you just shut the door. And if that's what this person had done, Josiane, is that Josanne? Is that how you pronounce it? If they'd have done that, they wouldn't have got into any trouble. I'm glad the charges were dropped. I don't know the ins and outs of their case. I will try and look into it. But if they'd have just said no thanks and shut the door, no problem would have come. You know, I never condone watching stuff you shouldn't be watching, right? If you don't pay for the TV license fee, you can't watch or record anything that's being broadcast or use BBC iPlayer. But there is only one way they would know, and that's you telling them when they knock on the door. But let's carry on. So back on the Express, it says, once the petition hits 150,000 signatures, it will become one of the top signed on change.org. And therein lies my problem with this particular petition. I mean, I don't think the petition's doing anything. I've seen loads of petitions, and a couple of them have got over 100,000 signatures and been debated in Parliament. I'll put a link below. Go and watch that footage of the debate in Parliament. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. It tells you everything you need to know about how the government feel about the BBC. The licence fee's going nowhere as far as the government's concerned. But the problem here is this petition's on change.org. It means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. If you're going to have a petition for this, it needs to be on the proper government petition portal. Because that way, when it gets to 10,000 signatures, you get a response from them, which is normally a copy and a paste. And when it gets over 100,000 signatures, it may be debated in Parliament. But this one picked up some real big traction. So they couldn't really ignore this one if it was on the proper government petition website. There's no way they could ignore it. It would have to trigger a debate of some sort or a proper response of some sort. But because it's on change.org, government don't have to do anything. They don't have to do anything at all. And they probably won't. So back on a petition, the final bit says, as household bills have rocketed across the UK, I'm calling on TV licensing to stop prosecuting people who are unable to pay their TV licenses during the cost of living crisis. They should stop prosecuting people who are in financial hardship, over 75 or otherwise vulnerable. 2 not-for-profit organisations, Silver Voices and Appeal, have been asking them to do this, but they have so far declined. Yeah, Silver Voices have been in this fight for a long time, mostly supporting the over 75s. They want it decriminalised for the over 75s. But let's face it, right, the BBC took away the free licences of the over 75s because they've got a 300 million quid black hole in their finances, and they say they need the money from the over 75s. I think the reason they did it is because the under 25s aren't paying it, because they don't need to pay it. They've got no interest in watching broadcast TV. It doesn't exist for them broadcast TV. They're at uni or in their first place, and they're not paying it because they don't need it. And many of them have done their research to know you can just shut the door. You know, I don't know much about what Appeal's doing about it, but the thing is, the BBC want your money, right? They get, what was it? The total, from the other day I made a video, didn't I? The total money the BBC brings in every year is 4.2 billion quid a year. 3.7, I believe, of that is TV licence fees. They're not going to give that up. If they decriminalise it and they stop prosecuting people who don't pay it, the entire country would just pretty much stop paying it, wouldn't they? There'd be like 10% left paying it. It's not going to happen. You've got to do it yourself. Educate yourself and educate as many people as possible to know you don't have to pay it now. As long as you don't watch anything that's been broadcast or use BBC iPlayer, you don't need to pay it, and you close the door in these people's faces. If you go to my page on here, the main YouTube page for me, hit my logo or my name down there. The first page that pops up, there's a video on there. Share that with everyone you know, because it gives all the information, clear and easy advice of what you can and can't do without a telly licence. Just do that, because the government's going to ignore this petition because it's not on the government portal. So what do you think about this then? I mean, it's gained a lot of traction, right? It's gained a lot of traction. And it says here, at 200,000 signatures, this petition comes one of the top signed on change.org. But it doesn't matter whether it's got 1 million signatures. It's on change.org. The government can just ignore it. It should have been set up on the government portal. And even then, the government will do nothing. I say, have a look at the video. I'll put a link below. It's a really old video of mine from donkey's years ago. It's called Why the TV Licence Won't Be Abolished. And I've got footage of the debate in Parliament about cancelling the TV licence. And you wouldn't believe it. You won't believe what they say. Go and have a look at that. And as always, thanks for watching. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because that way, hopefully, I'll get to see you in another video again soon, won't I? Ta-da.